All right. Welcome everyone to the progress update number 9 for our D2D session called Sharing Strategies, Success and Secrets. I am Arif Nazir, and the rest of the D2D team is with us. As you guys know, hopefully by now, the order of business usually for this month is to really bring in some best practices from people who are doing the important work on the front line and to share best practices and strategies. Today is a very special session because we are sadly, or maybe excitedly, wrapping up our phase 1 of the D2D initiative, which has gone on for almost 15 months or so. And we are ready to enter the phase 2 of the initiative, which we'll be happily sharing with you. But today's session, as you will see, is going to be a little bit different, where we really want to focus on our conversation. So if you go to the next slide, team, we can look at our agenda for today. So like always, but more than always, today the participation is encouraged because today is a very interactive session. We definitely would like to share some of the best practices and pearls based on what we have heard from you. So we'll just share some of those pearls with you today. But in turn, we also want to hear from you is what are some of the pearls you want to bring back to the table. So today we're going to do something really exciting and a little bit more fun. We're going to be creating a few groups. We'll break out into 2 to 3 or 4 groups based on how many of us are today on the call. And we will have among those individual breakout groups, we will have some conversation on some of the concepts around D2D and deprescribing and optimization. And for a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so, we'll then return back to the main group. And one of us from each group will be reporting back what we have heard in regards to best practices and lessons and so forth. And after that, we'll be doing just a few poll questions, and your input through those poll questions is very important because that helps us design the initiative so that it meets your needs well. So with that, let's go to our next slide. We're just announcing the second phase for D2D for next year. So with that, Erin, do you want to kind of share with us what are we planning for as the next version of D2D?
Absolutely. Thank you. We're excited to announce that the AMDA Foundation is awarding us some funds to continue this great initiative into 2023. And so we're finalizing our plans. And part of it is really hearing from you today to help guide what our future plans will be for 2023. So it's great that you're here today to help us with that. Some of the things we have tentatively planned include a quarterly podcast on AMDA on the Go. If you're not familiar with AMDA on the Go, it's one of our most popular features. So be sure to download our app where you can listen to it, or go to our website and you can hear those great podcasts. You can listen in your car or while you're exercising or walking the dog. So we thought we would do some of those quarterly on various medication classes and strategies. We'll also be upgrading our webpage and our landing page with some of the key deprescribing strategies that we've learned and identified over the past year and a half, and add some additional resources as appropriate, and even pull some of the video clips from the past 18 months of the webinar, so you don't have to listen through 18 hours of webinars. We'll pull out the highlights and key things for you and add those to the website. We'll also consider doing some quarterly emails with resources, success stories, and new tips we are learning, and also some quarterly progress check-ins like we're doing today. So that's what we have on tap, and we really look forward to hearing from you today to see what ideas you might have for us.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to kind of just take a second here to really appreciate the AMDA staff who's on the call, and some behind the scenes also, who are really doing a lot of great brainstorming on how these messaging can be crystallized and emphasized and made available to you on an ongoing basis in the future. It requires a lot of thinking and, more importantly, time and effort. So I just want to give a lot of kudos to the staff who are always kind of trying to create the highest quality product. So thank you, Erin, and the team, everybody on the call here who's just doing phenomenal work.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and this has been a great group to work with. We're gonna miss you all in our monthly meetings. This next slide has some pearls of wisdom that I actually pulled out for another presentation I did on this initiative. So these are some of the things just off the top of my head. So I didn't even delve into all 18 months off the top of my head. Some of the key things that we've learned were, involving the interdisciplinary team right from the start. We've had some great presentations from DONs, nurse practitioners, other leaders, consultant pharmacists and others in the Deprescribing initiative. So that's been a great lesson. Finding someone who's excited about Deprescribing to lead the effort. I think I saw Kim Ratliff hopped on the call today. I was thrilled to see her. She did one of our terrific presentations and is really enthusiastic. I heard her talking about how Deprescribing, she was excited about it on a completely different call and said, you have to present to our D2D group. So that is key, finding someone who's excited and think outside the box a little bit on who that could be. And we learned this too, if your strategy doesn't work on the first try, to try it again, adjust it and try again. We've heard from, I think, almost all of our speakers weren't always successful on the first try. They had to adjust it and try again. So that's key. Promote the benefits of Deprescribing to your staff. Decreased burden on nursing staff. We know all of you are understaffed, and so this is one way to decrease that burden on them. Fewer evening meds means less interruption of sleep for your residents, making it an easier day the next day. Decrease adverse events and fewer trips to the ER, which we know is important too. Also, and we have Michael on today, consultant pharmacists are a key resource, and use them. We think they're often underutilized and they're terrific. So make sure you know who your consultant pharmacist is and have them on speed dial. They really like to help. Then look at the risks and benefits of each medication that you're prescribing. If you don't prescribe it to begin with, you don't have to deprescribe it. So as you're prescribing them, really question and make sure that that's the right medication and the right reason, and that you have a plan. If the risks outweigh the benefits, which is often the case in our older adults, especially if they're on multiple medications, you want to discontinue or reduce them. And then finally, communicate with family members about the benefits of medication optimization. We've heard from many of you that often it's the family members that push against or are hesitant to deprescribe, letting them know that you can always put someone back on a medication. So those were the things that jumped out at me. And I don't know if anyone else wants to hop on with some of their thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, two of my favorite ones are, the first one is the power of interdisciplinary. I think it's just a very, very low hanging fruit to build great trust with your team, right? I mean, there's many ways of building trust with the team. Of course, you can eat pizza together too, but really talking about medication optimization and Deprescribing together, nothing beats that, honestly. And number two one is consultant pharmacists. To me, that has been just the biggest epiphany. I always kind of realized what a missed opportunity that always was in our setting. But man, now after all the stories that we're hearing and all the work I'm able to do it in my organization, I am just like a renewed interest in like, what else are we missing in regards to creating partnerships? To me, just that has been an epiphany, that how valuable consultant pharmacies can be to us prescribers. So those are two of my favorite. I don't know, Michael, if you have.
No, I think for me, the piece that I took away was the role of nursing in the whole process, and how nursing can really support, drive, or hinder if you don't help bring them along and show them why it works. But once our experience was, when we saw and got them excited, it went like a flash. And so the role of nursing, there was more to it than I ever would have expected. A tremendous learning for me personally through the D2D process.
And as we wrap this up, I really want to also thank all the people who are on the call. And of course, I may miss a few, but I just noticed like 3 or 4 people who have attended pretty much every single session. So I mean, Aaron, if okay, I'm just going to name them and just thank them. Like Dr. Bob Kaplan, he has been just a phenomenal attendee, contributor in a way. Dr. Dan Hemowitz has been consistently on these calls. Matt Palmer, one of the pharmacy leaders from PharMerica, he's been on everything. Like, so, and I know I'm missing a couple of our nurse practitioners have been on there. It's like, thank you to those who have fully supported this. And a lot what we have been able to do has been because of the energy all of you has created so far in that. So thank you.
I echo that. Thank you all. It's been terrific. So with that, we will, we're going to go into our breakout groups for about 10 minutes. And these are the questions we'd like you to discuss. And one of us will be in your rooms to moderate. But these are the questions we'd like you to talk over amongst yourselves. And then we'll come back as a full group and summarize what we've discussed in our breakout rooms and the key points we want to share with the full group. So you should be, I think, Alicia, let me know if we're good. You should be automatically assigned to a breakout room if you've done this before. There you go. I'm going to room 4. So you just join it and then and we'll see you on the other side.
Wow, those 10 seconds flew away in like 3 minutes, like 10 minutes flew away like in 3 minutes for me. So just
They sure do. I think somebody sat on the gas on the clock.
Yeah, I know.
Dr. Hamowitz was actually speaking in our group and suggesting, I think, to everyone that if they have additional comments to put them in the chat. Because I know our group was definitely, I think they could have gone on for another 30 minutes.
Well,
Yes.
why don't you, Lori, do you want to start? Let's give every group like a couple of minutes to share their perspective, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we can start.
Go ahead.
I don't know, Jen, do you want to start or do you?
Sure, I can give some highlights.
Mhm.
Hi, team. This is Jen, the implementation lead for D2D, and I'm a geriatric and palliative care pharmacist in Pittsburgh. I had the pleasure of being in room 1. Our group talked a little bit about some of the advantages of this initiative, which included the community support, having these monthly webinars where you were able to consistently join a group of like-minded thinkers, and that constant support provided momentum for you and some of your healthcare team to implement, continue to implement Deprescribing into your practice. And we hope that these podcasts will be able to do that as well moving forward as well. But really where our group transitioned and pivoted during our discussion was that it's clear that while we did focus on long-term care residents for this initiative, what we do in the post-acute long-term care setting is only part of the continuum. So how do we now think about how to partner with some of our other continuum, groups? Like, how do we partner with the hospital group? How do we partner with ACOs? How do we partner with hospitals, ambulatory care clinics, et cetera, so that we are all kind of drinking this Kool-Aid, and so it's not just us, doing this work moving forward.
Very insightful. Thank you. All right. Appreciate that. Room 2. I don't even remember who was room 2. Maybe it was us. But Michael, do you want to go next?
Whatever. Sure. Let me go next.
Yes, please.
So our group, some of their best practices had to do with how they used data, not only to help motivate centers and leadership, how they focused on reductions in med pass time and lab time. One group had an awesome, they actually, as part of their weekly meetings with families, would come with the Deprescribing recommendations. And that was a standard process, a formal family process, which allowed them to bring the family into the process and be successful. I think what folks would love to see maybe more of are more links to research that supports it, knowing we don't have time, but also I lost my screen there. More links to research, and they really enjoyed our topics, where they would take the topics that we talked about and then go implement them at centers. So actually using our D2D curriculum to what they were going to focus on that month, which was kind of cool. I think it speaks neat to Jen's fellowship comment earlier, that this became also part of how to do this month to month. It was very exciting. Great group of folk.
Very insightful summary. Thank you. What I think there was a 4th group. I think I was one of those, but who's the other one?
I was group 4, and we had some great feedback. Matt Palmer talked about, he's a consultant pharmacist at PharMerica, and talked about that they rehash our D2D meetings at their monthly consulting meetings and review what we say. And they've created a metric for all consultants to use to do a self-evaluation of their deprescribing.
Wow.
And I asked what he found was most useful from our presentations. And he said, and I'm sorry, Sabina isn't on to hear this, the pearls of wisdom, which she has coined that phrase, but really likes those pearls. For instance, what order to discontinue hypertensive medications, which we talked about with Kristen Zimmerman. So that's something, as we look towards what to do in the coming year, we're going to go through and pull those pearls out of all those sessions we've done to make it easier for you to access those. So that was terrific. And then we heard from 3 nurse practitioners, and it's Nurse Practitioners Week. So thank you and happy Nurse Practitioners Week to all of you who talked about, a few of them are brand new to the setting. So it was exciting. They've only been on the last 3 sessions, and just we're really happy to hear all the information they were able to get. So of course, and for others of you who are new, we do have all these recorded on our website. We'll put that in the chat. So if you want to go back or re-listen or share with colleagues past ones over the last 18 months, all those recordings are available. And then we had someone else talking about some additional resources that we can discuss, and like the Stop Start and Stop Fail initiative, or resources and tools. So I think we have more we can delve into the next year in those quarterly podcasts and check-ins.
Wow. Just because I am one of the co-chairs, I can do it. I'm going to just give a shout out to 2 of my favorite NPs who are on the call, Lacey and Penny. Thank you for joining. But yes, what great comments. Love that summary from our group. We were there room 3, and it's unbelievable. We had a nurse, 2 pharmacists, 1 nurse practitioner, 1 PA, 1 geriatrician, 2 geriatricians. Like, can you be more interprofessional than that? I think our group really represented the spirit of deprescribing what we heard as best practices. So it was a great conversation, and I asked them my question I was very, very interested in was, how are you going to scale this going forward, right? How this matures from just being a pet initiative to really becoming the care itself, right? I mean, so some great ideas, and some ideas included that this should be your first thing you do from the day first you interact with the patient. This is where you should open up with a critical eye on medications, and risk-benefit ratio should be an ongoing process. And then every single time you leave the patient's side, triage for the next medicine that you're going to go after, right? So always have that ongoing plan. And then trust. Make sure that you don't just do this, in the absence of trust with the family and the team. So that is very important. Another comment was, always be aware of your responsibility and be very deliberate in how you're going to plan optimization and deprescribing. It should not be a by chance kind of a thing or an afterthought. Another comment we got was, always look at a chart with a critical eye. Always look for things you're going to find which are going to be an opportunity for you. So always be very critical in your review of the chart. And then med of the month, always have in your mind, and for your team, a medicine of the month. They really like that strategy, which we presented at one of the sessions. So they're going to use that ongoing basis, and come up with a monthly newsletter as a team. So if you are a leader in an organization, always include in your monthly newsletter some deprescribing things so that it becomes an ongoing effort. And then always kind of talk about and educate about some of the key medicines which are the most harmful. Always have that list available and kind of preach about those to everybody you meet and interact with. So I think we just got some great ideas on how this now matures from an initiative to an ongoing key part of your care. All right. So I think we have a few minutes. If anybody on the call wants to share, which you have not heard yet and was discussed, please feel free to unmute yourself and or put that in the chat box. Either way is fine. With that, let's go to the next slide. So Erin, this is our polling time, right?
Yep.
All right, so do you want to take it from here?
So I think I can. Yep. Okay. Here we go. I'm launching poll question number 1. Who from your facility led your D2D effort? And you can answer more than once. I didn't want to limit it to 1 in case you had multiple people. And as we saw in the breakout groups, this is an interdisciplinary effort. So I'm excited to see that. Oh, we finally got an administrator. Yes, everybody's been represented here as someone who led.
We don't see the, do you see the result? I'm not seeing the result.
Oh, you don't see him? Oh, you can't see him yet. I have to wait till everyone finishes. Sorry, I get a sneak preview.
Oh, okay, got it.
Oh,
I blew the surprise. I didn't realize when I ended. Okay, it looks like everyone's voted pretty much. Okay, now can you see it?
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Wow, an applause for consultant pharmacists, right? I look at that, unbelievable.
Yeah. And number 2, we have medical directors, which is terrific, and nurse practitioners and physician assistants. And that's terrific. But I'm happy to see an administrator out there leading the effort. A few DONs, terrific. All right. Let's go to poll number 2. Here we go. Which of the strategies discussed resonated most with you? Again, this is a multiple choice. You can pick more than one answer. And if one of yours isn't on here, please put it in the chat. People are still voting. Okay, I think we've got a good representation here. And again, we've got a little bit of everything. The winner, promoting benefits of Deprescribing to staff. That's interesting. That's terrific.
Yeah, and I think the staffing shortages probably kind of explain that, right? I mean, we're struggling in this country with healthcare staff, particularly in post-acute long-term care, right? So anything we can do to, so I think that just makes sense.
Terrific. And if you have another one, you can put that in the chat for us to see. All right, number 3, we have 5 of these. What have been your biggest barriers? And this will help us as we focus our efforts moving forward. Do you have a lack of a leader to drive the effort, lack of time because you're understaffed, lack of staff support and buy-in, lack of patient family support, or other? And if it's other, please put that in the chat. Lack of staff support and buy-in, which makes sense given what the answer was to the last question about that being really key, is getting staff support and educating them about the benefits of deprescribing.
And I think the lack of time, understaffed issue, the staff issue, and the lack of support goes hand in hand, right? I mean, it's just, you know, the more issues you have with staffing shortages, you know, the less time staff has. So
yeah. And again, and that lack of patient and family support, I think her name's Susan, put in the chat, which I thought was a great comment, that we should start asking residents how they feel about the number of medications they take. And that could be a great start to that conversation when they're admitted. Terrific. All right, 2 more. This one's an easy one. Michael, let's see what they say. Did you work with your consultant pharmacist on this initiative? Yes,
so you can't answer this if you are a consultant pharmacist, because we know you work with yourself. So
and if no, we're not trying to like get you, but we're curious if you didn't. Is it because, I don't know, what reason would be interesting to know?
yeah.
Look at that comment from Deb. I have a nurse who, when she sees me now, says that she has a couple more sliding scales to get rid of. So how cool
All
is that?
right.
There we go. Michael, you were holding your breath. So
I was actually. This is great.
There you go. Terrific.
we still have still a few who could not. So it would be interesting to know why that didn't work out. But great
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, I would actually be very interested to know because there may be things that are fixable there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may just be an awareness issue of their role, really.
Right.
And our final poll, how would you like to see this initiative continue? And again, this is you can do multiple answers here. We talked about some of this earlier, but this will help us know what to do. We're going to be busy based on what I'm seeing. I like running the polls. You get to see the answers first. All right, I think we have a good representation here. Here we go. They still like those webinars, folks. They
Oh, wow. Oh, boy, are we getting a message.
They're like,
Podcasts
podcast, what
are good.
podcast? They're like, podcast, what podcast? Come on. We like webinars.
Love those webinars. All right.
That's important feedback.
That's really important feedback.
It is.
I do want to answer Brian's question here on like, how do you define a meta optimization? And, I think we talked a little bit about it, the very first session on this is really, it's basically good chronic disease management, right? I mean, how many times, what the data shows, like only 34% of the people in nursing homes get good evidence-based heart failure care. Less than 50% of people get evidence-based COPD care, right? So that is meta optimization, is like doing chronic disease management, looking at evidence-based therapies and making sure that what people are missing, like think about how many people with fractures who are younger should be on bisphosphonates, don't even get bisphosphonates and vitamin D. So I think that's how we described it, Brian.
And Dr.
Really.
Nazar, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, what my real question is, how do we convey what that our own personal definitions of meta optimization are to the patients and their families? I mean, I want to take a lead off of our Canadian counterparts who have changed the name of their organization to Medication Optimization and Deprescribing Network, because we talk about deprescribing, it's the what, okay? It's the how, but we haven't gotten to the what yet. And the what is when patients understand the intended use first, then how it's working for them, and then get the safety, then they can get to see why that we want to deprescribe. Because if you just deprescribe without that engaging that family, they get upset because they've been on these medicines all their life and been told they need to be on these medicines all their life.
Yeah, no, that was a very robust conversation we had during the first couple of sessions, and but you make very good points, and you're just highlighting it again, that deprescribing by itself is nothing, right? Conversation meta optimization goes hand in hand with it. So message well received. And I think what Brian is telling us, that don't forget about that meta optimization in your messaging, because you may mean both, but people may not understand it's both. So that's very well taken point.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a few more slides just to end up with here. I don't know who has control of them now. I don't think. Okay, thanks. We did that.
Yeah.
So
well, and somebody's asking, I think Tim is asking about the Beardsley update, and no, I think the time is now to go and comment on it. I think AMDA as organization, I'm not sure has commented on it or not, but I think we all have a responsibility to kind of review the new update and give comment on that. But that's great. That's a great point to bring up. We should have mentioned it, but thank you, Tim, for pointing to that. So AGS has just opened up that comment period. So let's make sure that we are reviewing it and give any comments on that.
yes, we have one of our members is representing AMDA on reviewing those.
Perfect.
He's a consultant pharmacist as well.
Awesome. And thank you to all of our nurse practitioners and PAs also, who just do phenomenal work. So couldn't thank you enough. And the value of our practitioners in our organization has just totally emerged more thanks to the work we are doing with D2D and Deprescribing. So just can't say enough about the value of practitioners really in our current and future healthcare systems. Thank you to all.
This is our Nominate a Choosing Wisely champion. And I think if there was ever a group that should have someone they can nominate, we're excited. We're already getting some in. Usually we don't get them in for another month or two, and we're already getting some nominations in. So we really encourage you, if you have done work on any of this, Deprescribing, look at our Choosing Wisely statements. And if you know a champion, you can submit a nomination for yourself or a colleague, and you can use the link below to do that. And if you go to choosingwisely.org, that has all of the Choosing Wisely statements. It's from the American Board of Internal Medicine. And so every year AMDA submits usually 5 to 10 statements, and they're specific to prescribing medication and also labs and other tests. And so the initiative is really to decrease unnecessary medication use, lab use, and things like that. So if there, it doesn't.
I do want to highlight in the comment from Deb on the nurse who was asking about the sliding scale. I mean, that would qualify because there is a Choosing Wisely statement on sliding scale. Yeah,
there is. There's if you look at all the statements, there's probably one you can that you can find that would apply to something you've been doing, and it doesn't have to be like earth-shattering. Okay, as we've learned this year, it's baby steps. So our winners in the past, it hasn't always been some earth-shattering change, but just some marked progress. So I encourage you to take a look. If you want to, get bonus points with your colleagues, go nominate one of them that's been doing a good job. It'd be terrific. So we like to have a lot to choose from. And then we announce the winner around our annual conference, which is in March in Tampa, which you'll hear more from in a minute, I think. Our next and final webinar, well, I don't know, it might not be the final one based on that poll question, but for now, the final one in 2022 is going to be setting the foundation for the next phase of D2D. So we're not planning, normally we would introduce another medication class, but we're going to continue this conversation and talk about the foundation and maybe talk about some more pearls that we can pull out from past sessions. I don't know if our panel has anything more to add to that.
No, just keep giving us the feedback. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And Lori Sharp, thank you. She put in the chat, the link to the Choosing Wisely's program. And also, as some of you in my group mentioned, you're pretty new actually to these sessions there. She put the link in where you could find the archive meetings. So that is right there for you. And then I think
that's all, folks.
Is that all we got? Lori, do you want to?
The only other thing I put in the chat, and I'll put that in again just for fun, is we really hope to see everybody at PALTC 23. That's our annual conference, which will be in warm, sunny Florida. So we're going to Tampa, Florida, March 9th through 12th. I believe Dr. Nazir has a session on deprescribing. Just to let everybody know, the early bird rate is available through November 30th. And if you if you register and then book your room under AMDA's room block by November 30th, you'll get all of the archived recorded sessions for free. So we really, really hope to take D2D on the road and see everyone down in Florida.
Yeah, it's a great conference, especially I know some of you are new AMDA members. It's a great way to network and meet people and find out ways to get involved with AMDA. It's a fun group. So, and it's in Tampa in March. So if you're like us and are up north where it's cold, we hope to see you there.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your time, and thanks for all you have been doing. And yeah, appreciate the participation today. It was a fun session. Thank you.
Thanks,
everyone.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.